on back order, what would you recommend in place of for this patient? And then I go back in and enter it in the history.
Good, so
That's
that would
history.
be a task. So the task is you sending a message to the doctor saying, hey, I would do it here.
So the tasks are gonna be our new work list.
Yeah,
Communication tasks
Yes.
are the new work list. Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay.
And
And it
I-
was this,
this one right here, the one with the clear bubble on top.
And if you hover
Okay.
over it, it'll tell you its name.
Yeah,
true, that's true. Okay, okay.
you guys are helping me out.
I learned this one just this morning, so I was so
Well,
excited about it.
Communication task,
Because
okay.
we were worried we weren't gonna have something like that, but I'm glad it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's good that you guys are kind of comparing things of Avamark now, because that's what I did. Because when I went from VSI was just literally checking client names and putting the bills in. They had nothing to do with medical records or anything. Medical records were actually on paper.
The paper still.
So to me, when I say communication task, in my brain, I refer this as a post-it, like a post-it memo that I'm writing it down and posting it on the computer of a doctor or whoever it is. So yeah, so note list is what you guys call it?
Work list.
Okay.
Yeah.
List.
So that would be that. And you can assign it to the doctor that you want to assign it to.
Okay.
The reason. And you can, anything that has yellow and an arrow down, search to your little heart contents, because that's how you kind of learn. And it's okay for you to make mistakes. That's how I learn. So if it's an LVT that, or maybe, you have somebody here, one of our co-workers that's on this food, for their pet and stuff like that, and you find this out. And then you just kind of I would put it as a review message to the doctor. And I would just put a brief synopsis. Hey, just found out from Hills, we're having a back order on ID low fat. And then I would put my name on it because I'm the one that wrote it. And I am very sensitive for urgencies and emergencies, and I always put, this to me is an urgency, because if I have a client that has pancreatitis or a patient that has pancreatitis, this is a concern to me. To me, this is an urgency. And I'll put here in parentheses, it's not an emergency, but it's an urgency because I'm concerned about such and such pet or something like that.
Great.
And you can mess around with the dates here. So like if you find out today, but the doctor that you want this message to go out to is here tomorrow, you can actually click on here and it'll give you a calendar.
So you can pick
So you can
tomorrow
pick
when it's
tomorrow
there, and it'll be
and-
on the top of their list.
Right, so if I pick today,
Okay, okay.
let's say, let me just pick a doctor here or whatever. Let's just do
That one of the tops, there you go.
dental. Not in stock. I was putting it under the hospital yesterday, so I'll continue to do that. Did I pass it? I probably did. Who's Kelly Roach?
I don't know.
Okay.
Kelly, it is today.
It is. All right, and then so
Then I would click on urgent, would that
Yes.
give,
then that urgent,
okay.
and then I would click done, and this is what would happen. And so what happens internally is that message, anybody that opens this client will see that there is an urgent task, but and they can come in and they can review it. Anybody can see that message.
Now, how
But
does,
It goes to the doctor though.
It does, okay.
It does. So
okay.
anyone can see it. It's visible to everyone here in the hospital, but it will go directly to the doctor. So if you go here, this is the same bubble as this one here. You guys all have this. You should have it on your icons there.
Oh, okay.
And it would
Alright.
come up under the doctor, under me. So automatically it would default to the doctor's name, and that doctor will get a list of all the tasks
Great.
and
Okay.
messages.
Great.
That's cool. So that's something you should check
Yeah.
often like we check
Yeah.
our work list, okay.
Once the
Cool.
doctor checks this, like let's say I'm the doctor and I come in here and I see it, let me see, who did I put it under?
boarding, I think.
Boarding, all right, so let's change it to boarding. There's some that I can change right away, and there's others that I have to scroll down, which sucks. It's not there. So it would say boarding,
Sure.
and it will click or whatever. Let's say it's here. You see a little orange bubble with a explanation mark. That's telling me this is an urgent message.
Okay.
So I click on it, and literally this is what it would look like when I open it up. And so I read it, and I'm like, oh, I gotta start calling my clients and let them know about this ID. She might click off and say, you know, complete, and send you a task and say, hey, Deb, can you pull up a report for all my clients that I have them under .id low fat, and can you start calling, can you bring it to me so I can kind of review it or whatever. So once I read it, I can then complete it, and then it's done. It never goes away.
Does it go to, it stays in the patient?
It stays in the patient, but it stays here as a show completed task. So you gotta click this to see that it's crossed out, and you can always go to it. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what the doctor's gonna see.
Oh, okay, okay.
Great.
Cool.
And you can open it, and you can see that it was completed, when it was completed, by date. It always stamps a date and time and everything,
Excellent.
which is great.
Yeah, that's great, okay. Because we would use this a lot.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
that's,
that's
really-
intercommunication. Yeah, and yeah, especially when you guys are running around.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that this one would be ComLog, creating a ComLog. This can be utilized as two things. It can be utilized as a medical documentation, doctor making recommendations or LVT or tech to a patient, and that you want it to stay with the medical record. Or if it's a client concern that there's a client that's upset with our services, you know, wants a doctor to call, we haven't called her back, you know, with lab testing, you know, it's been 24 hours and she's concerned, that I would flag it under administrative, because that stays internal, and it doesn't pull up in her medical records. Food, medications, recommendations on how to bathe and things like that, that should always be with a medical record. But any client concerns or anything like that should be under administrative. Always subject it, always kind of regarding client concerns about not getting lab work right away. Always put a subject, because it's so much easier for us to find it. And once you do it, let's see, regarding concerns with lab results. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So this is where I would, be visual. Just kind of like the fact that I'm taking this message from a client. You see this here? You want to make sure that you change it to the doctor that you want the doctor to know about this, or even Sean or any of your supervisors, if it's a concern that it's beyond your help, you should definitely send it to that person. And I would then also create a communication task to Sean and be
neat.
like, hey Sean, read this. You have to, I would say, please read ComLog. Client's upset, or,
Oh, so then that will come up on the side there. So
You
this
got
is
it on the bubble.
yeah.
All right.
And just a brief synopsis, and I would put it under, Kelly again?
Sorry, Kelly.
I know. And then I would put this as an urgent, because anything that I find that there's a client concern or whatever, I want to make sure that my doctor gets it on time,
Mm-hmm.
or my supervisor or manager.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would click done, and then clicked on here.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, but always make sure that you put it under the client, because there's lots of times that the girls get so worked up in writing this comm log and they forget to send it to the doctor with the communication task.
Got it.
So the doctor will then see this red bubble, they go into their task, they see this, and then they read the task and say, client concern, please read message. I will then go to this client here, which is my client, and I will go to overview. And I would read my detailed communication task that you guys wrote to me about this client.
Great. Cool.
Okay.
So
Wow,
I
that's
would
cool.
do, when it comes to client concerns, and doctor concerns, I send an urgent task to a doctor, I always combine the two, because I'm very old school and I'm very detailed. And I want you to know that this is high, it's a priority to me. So, hey, I took care of this client, but it has their concerns, and this is the detailed conversation I had with the client.
Cool.
One of the other things that if you guys want, you guys aren't live yet, but if ever a client needs like history on vaccines and everything, you will click this here, and this window would open up a scroll of forms and things that you can actually print out. And all you gotta do is, like, if a client needs a rabies certificate to license their pet, you could just type in RAB, and it would come out reprint rabies certificate.
Great.
You can actually open, it gives you 3 categories. It'll give you an icon to open up the page so you can actually see the document and make sure the information's correct. And then it gives you another icon to print it out or to mail it to the client.
Great.
And you choose either of them, and you can send it. Same thing with vaccines. You type in vaccine, and the title vaccine status comes up, and it's a really neat document with a pet's picture on it and all of his vaccines, when they were done, when they're due,
Cool.
and you can send it to them.
Great. What was that little, I couldn't see it, the little icon in the corner that
This one right here.
Okay, cool.
Print and send documents.
Great.
It'd be nice for people that are, dogs that are going to like a daycare or.
Yeah, people ask us for that all the time.
Yeah.
The vaccine information.
This little icon here, patient menu.
Yep.
This one would be patient settings. And if you open it up, this can you can choose whether the pet is alive or deceased or no longer has it, inactive. Always make sure that if you're inactivating, click off this little thing, because then they'll stop sending them little postcards and
Got
things
it.
like that. This one would be for rabies information.
Yep.
If somebody goes to like a rabies clinic and they're coming here with that certificate, you can just go in here and put in the date, the tag, and the serial number.
Great.
That's cool.
And this would be microchipping information,
Okay.
or tattoos. I don't even think they do tattoos anymore, but
I saw one yesterday. They don't, not the number though, just the little,
line.
yeah.
Okay.
By the.
I think
space
only
on
like
it or-
the racing dogs have those ear tattoos still,
Oh,
but they don't do that much anymore anyway. Cool.
I once saw a dog that came from California, and he literally had an actual tattoo.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, that's one thing. But it wasn't the person. The person actually rescued the dog from a shelter.
No, those Californians.
Those Californians. Do you have any more specific questions?
No, I
for-
think that, and not at this time. I know once I get in there and start really working.
I was actually emailing back and forth and Sean, and I'm gonna look at my schedule to see if I'm able to get to you guys more before here, spend more time with you guys here before
Great.
you guys go live, to kind of keep continuing doing this, because I think the more you guys work on it,
Yes.
the more familiar you guys get. And
It's
when
just
the day
hard getting
comes-
off the floor. I mean, today we're here because 3 of our surgeries canceled.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
wow,
she
you're
only
so
had
out.
one quick cat neuter and she's
He's all
done.
set, so.
Yeah.
Good.
So it's just hard getting off the floor to come in
Yeah,
and do things.
and so I can do it. Like I said, I'm like 10 minutes away from you
Great.
guys.
Cool, thank you.
So
We
I'll
so
do that.
appreciate it.
But also once we have inventory done, because I have my things so organized over there with the team, that I can come here when you guys start doing it, and I can kinda help you along. You can do the, I would urge you to do the recordings of the training and things like that.
I did it before our last one. I thought it was very helpful.
Yeah, and I can help you guys out too, if, you know, inputting it, but
Cool.
I think Sean gets the bulk of it, because once you guys give me the list, I'm just kinda, then I sit there and I'm
Yep.
just kinda
Type,
like
type, type.
typing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
You wanna go find
Alrighty.
Tree to see if she's available and we'll
Thank
start at the
you.
You're
beginning?
very welcome.